Behind the mask of fame and peace lies a shocking truth. Big U, once seen as a music mogul and peacemaker, now stands accused of running a criminal empire. Eugene Henley, widely known as Big U, has surrendered to authorities. The FBI claims he led a secret criminal organization, all while publicly portraying himself as a peacemaker in gang conflicts and a music industry powerhouse. Today we dive deep into the rise and fall of Big U. Eugene Henley, better known as Big U, is a prominent figure with a complex reputation, known for his involvement in the music industry and his efforts in gang intervention. Born and raised in Los Angeles, Big U grew up in an environment where gang culture was prevalent, particularly within the Crips organization. In the early stages of his life, Henley was deeply involved in gang activities, a part of L.A., quote, S infamous Crips. However, after serving a lengthy prison sentence, Big U emerged with a new outlook and claimed to have turned his life around. Upon his release, Henley began making a name for himself not only within his community but also in the world of hip-hop. Big U worked as a music executive and manager, contributing to the rise of several influential rap artists. One of his most notable partnerships was with rapper Nipsey Hussle, a young artist from South Los Angeles who went on to achieve international fame. Big U played a key role in the early stages of Nipsey's career, guiding him through the tough terrain of the music industry while also promoting a message of unity and self-empowerment. In addition to his music industry contributions, Big U became involved in gang intervention efforts. He co-founded an organization known as Developing Options, which aimed to curb gang violence and provide mentorship to at-risk youth in Los Angeles. Big U was seen walking a fine line between two worlds. On one side, he was a respected figure in the hip-hop community, working with top artists and helping them navigate their careers, and on the other, he was a prominent advocate for peace between warring gangs in his hometown. Through his work in gang mediation, Henley cultivated a reputation as someone who could broker peace between rival groups. He became a public figure, often seen at community events and in the media, discussing the need for alternatives to gang violence and the importance of giving back to the community. However, despite his public persona of being a peacemaker and music mogul, there were whispers that Big U's involvement in the streets ran deeper than he let on. Some speculated that he still maintained strong connections with the Crips and was using his influence for purposes beyond what was publicly known. Big U's dual role, both as a community leader and someone with deep ties to gang culture, helped him build a formidable reputation in Los Angeles. His work touched the lives of many, from at-risk youth to hip-hop's rising stars. However, recent allegations and his subsequent arrest have raised serious questions about the man behind the public image, leaving many wondering about the true nature of his influence and power. Eugene Henley, widely known as Big U, built a public persona as a peacemaker and gang mediator, which conflicted sharply with the FBI's recent allegations against him. For years, Henley was seen as a pivotal figure in reducing violence and creating bridges between rival gangs in Los Angeles, particularly through his organization, Developing Options. He appeared to be someone who had left his past behind, turning a life once dominated by gang affiliation into one focused on community upliftment and mentorship. However, this public image now stands in stark contrast to the serious accusations leveled against him by law enforcement, which suggests that his activities were far from purely positive. The FBI has alleged that while Big U presented himself as a gang mediator, he was secretly running a mafia-like criminal organization. According to their investigation, Henley was not only involved in illegal activities, but was at the helm of a network that operated under the guise of his public-facing efforts. This network, as described by authorities, engaged in extortion, drug trafficking, and violence to maintain control and generate profits, all while Henley maintained a reputation as a community leader. One of the primary criminal activities Henley is accused of leading is extortion, particularly within the entertainment and music industries. According to FBI reports, Big U allegedly used his influence and reputation to pressure artists, record labels, and business owners into paying him for protection, This is a common tactic used in mafia-like organizations, where individuals or businesses are forced to pay in exchange for safety or to avoid being harmed. In Henley's case, the extortion was reportedly masked as business deals or security arrangements, allowing him to maintain the appearance of legitimate involvement in the music industry while exerting control behind the scenes. Moreover, the FBI accuses Big U of continuing to maintain deep ties to the Crips, the very gang he claimed to be steering youth away from. Rather than using his influence to dismantle gang operations, the FBI alleges that Henley was still actively involved in orchestrating gang-related activities. These activities allegedly included drug trafficking, a major revenue stream for organized crime. By leveraging his position as both a gang mediator and music industry executive, the FBI believes Henley was able to coordinate illegal drug distribution while evading suspicion. Henley is also accused of orchestrating violent acts, including assaults and intimidation tactics, to enforce control and protect his criminal operations. The FBI claims that those who refused to cooperate with Henley's demands or who posed a threat to his organization faced retribution, often through violence. This kind of behavior, according to authorities, is indicative of a tightly controlled criminal network where fear and intimidation are used to maintain power. The conflict between Henley's public image and these allegations is stark. On one hand, Big U was celebrated for his gang mediation efforts, working with organizations and city officials to reduce violence in Los Angeles. He was often portrayed as a reformed figure, someone who had left behind the gang lifestyle to become a positive influence on the community, particularly for young people. He positioned himself as a man who understood the struggles of growing up in gang culture and who wanted to provide opportunities for others to escape that world. Henley's work with the music industry also reinforced his image as a successful entrepreneur. As a manager, he helped develop the careers of several hip-hop artists, most notably Nipsey Hussle, whose message of self-reliance and empowerment aligned with the narrative Henley wanted to promote. His connections with high-profile figures in the music world gave him credibility and further distanced him from his criminal past, or so it seemed. However, the FBI's portrayal of Henley as a mafia-like figure controlling illegal operations paints a very different picture. The authorities allege that Henley used his role in gang mediation not to eliminate violence, but to consolidate power, using his influence to maintain control over criminal enterprises. If these allegations are true, then his public persona as a peacemaker was a facade, carefully crafted to mask a criminal empire operating behind the scenes. This duality between Big U's public-facing role and the FBI's depiction of his private actions highlights the complexity of his character and the case against him. For many, it raises troubling questions about whether his efforts to reduce gang violence were genuine or simply a cover for more sinister motives. As the investigation unfolds, more details will likely come to light, shedding further insight into how Henley managed to maintain two seemingly contradictory identities for so long. Until then, the case against Big U challenges the narrative of redemption and peace that he built, leaving many to wonder about the true extent of his influence and the real cost of his rise to power. The investigation that led to Eugene Henley's arrest was the result of years of work by law enforcement, specifically the FBI, as they pieced together evidence of his alleged involvement in a criminal organization. Despite his public persona as a gang mediator and music mogul, the FBI had long suspected that Henley was operating behind the scenes as the leader of a mafia-like syndicate. This investigation was complex, requiring law enforcement to gather evidence from multiple sources, including surveillance, informants, wiretaps, and financial records. One of the key methods used by the FBI in building their case against Henley was the deployment of undercover agents and confidential informants. These individuals were able to get close to Henley and members of his organization, gathering crucial information about their operations. Over time, informants revealed details about how Henley allegedly used his influence to extort artists and businesses within the music industry, all while maintaining the appearance of legitimate business dealings. These informants also provided insight into the gang-related activities that Henley was said to be involved in, including drug trafficking and violence. Wiretaps also played a significant role in the investigation. Law enforcement was able to intercept phone conversations and communications between Henley and his associates, which reportedly revealed his involvement in criminal activities. These wiretaps were critical in showing how Henley allegedly orchestrated various illegal operations, from extortion to drug deals. The FBI was able to gather recordings of conversations in which Henley and his associates discussed specific plans and actions related to their criminal enterprises. This kind of direct evidence is often difficult to refute in court, making it a powerful tool for prosecutors. Financial records were another important piece of the puzzle. The FBI conducted a thorough examination of Henley's finances, looking for signs of money laundering and other financial crimes. According to law enforcement, Henley funneled money from his illegal activities through legitimate businesses, including those tied to the music industry. By tracing the flow of money, the FBI was able to build a case that showed how Henley profited from his criminal organization while keeping his illicit earnings hidden behind a facade of legal business ventures. In addition to these methods, law enforcement also relied on physical surveillance of Henley and his associates. Over the course of the investigation, FBI agents monitored Henley's movements and meetings, documenting his interactions with known gang members and other individuals involved in illegal activities. This surveillance helped to confirm the information provided by informants and wiretaps, giving the FBI a clearer picture of how Henley operated his criminal organization. After gathering enough evidence, the FBI moved to arrest Henley, charging him with a series of serious crimes. These charges include racketeering, extortion, money laundering, drug trafficking, and conspiracy to commit violent acts. Racketeering in particular is a charge often used in cases involving organized crime, as it refers to running an illegal business or criminal enterprise. In Henley's case, the FBI alleges that he was the leader of a criminal organization that engaged in a wide range of illegal activities for financial gain. The charge of extortion is based on allegations that Henley used his influence to intimidate and coerce individuals and businesses into paying him for protection or to avoid harm. This extortion reportedly extended into the music industry, where Henley allegedly pressured artists and record labels to pay him under the guise of business deals or security arrangements. Drug trafficking is another major charge against Henley, with the FBI accusing him of being involved in the distribution of narcotics, including cocaine. Law enforcement believes that Henley used his connections within the gang world to facilitate the trafficking of drugs both locally and across state lines. This charge, along with the conspiracy to commit violent acts, paints a picture of a man still deeply connected to the gang life, despite his public claims of reformation. With these charges, the FBI aims to dismantle what they describe as a mafia-like organization run by Henley. His arrest marks a significant development in the ongoing effort to bring down powerful figures within the criminal underworld. However, the case against Henley is far from over. Prosecutors will now have to present the evidence gathered by the FBI in court, where Henley's defense team is likely to argue that he has been wrongfully accused and that his involvement in gang mediation and the music industry has been entirely legitimate. The outcome of this case will have wide-reaching implications, not just for Henley, but for the communities and industries he has influenced. As the legal process unfolds, more details about the FBI's investigation and Henley's alleged criminal activities are likely to come to light, further unraveling the complex web of connections that led to his arrest. Eugene Henley's Big U arrest has sent shockwaves through both the music industry and the communities he was heavily involved in. As a figure who was respected for his work in gang intervention and admired for his involvement in the careers of several prominent artists, Henley's downfall has left many people shocked and conflicted. In the music industry, where Henley was seen as a powerful figure behind the scenes, his arrest has raised concerns about the relationships between entertainment and the criminal underworld. For years, Henley worked with up-and-coming artists, particularly from Los Angeles, and helped them navigate the challenges of both their careers and their often dangerous neighborhoods. With his arrest, many are now questioning how much of his influence in the music world was legitimate and how much was connected to the criminal activities he's accused of leading. Some artists have come out in support of Henley, expressing disbelief at the allegations, while others are remaining silent or distancing themselves from the controversy. In the communities where Henley acted as a mediator between rival gangs, his arrest has had an equally profound effect. Henley was seen as a peacemaker who helped reduce violence in some of Los Angeles' most troubled neighborhoods. His efforts in gang intervention programs earned him respect from both community leaders and law enforcement, which makes the FBI's claims even more difficult for many to accept. His arrest has led to concerns that without his influence, tensions between gangs might escalate again, undoing some of the progress that had been made in recent years. Reactions to his downfall have been mixed. Some people, particularly those close to him, have defended Henley and maintained that he was committed to positive change. Others, however, see his arrest as a betrayal, especially if the allegations turn out to be true. The question now is whether Henley's organization will unravel further and what will happen to the projects he was involved in, both in the music industry and in the streets. The coming months will likely bring more revelations as the legal process moves forward, and the music industry and affected communities will have to grapple with the long-term impact of his arrest. A mafia-like organization is like a secret group of people who do bad things to make money and have power. They don't follow the rules, and they sometimes hurt other people or break the law to get what they want. Imagine a group of kids in a school who make others give them their lunch or toys by being mean, even though the school rules say you should share and be kind. Instead of sharing, this group does whatever they want to take things for themselves, and they don't care if it hurts others. Now, sometimes people who are part of these bad groups might pretend to be nice. They might act like they're helping others or doing good things, but in secret they are still part of the group that breaks the rules. For example, think about someone who smiles and says nice things, but when nobody's looking, they might steal someone's toy or push others around. To everyone else, they seem like a friendly person, but behind the scenes, they're doing bad things. In the story about Eugene Henley, also known as Big U, some people thought he was a good person because he helped people get along, especially in places where people were fighting. He helped different groups stop being mean to each other, and many thought he was making things better. He also helped some music artists become famous, so people thought he was doing a good job helping his community. But the FBI, which is like a group of really smart police officers who find out about big crimes, says that even though Big U was pretending to be a good person, he might have secretly been in charge of a bad group. They believe this group was like a mafia, meaning they did things like take money or use threats to get what they wanted. The FBI says that Big U wasn't just helping people, they think he was doing bad things behind the scenes, like running this secret group and breaking the law. So a mafia-like organization is when a group of people work together in secret to do bad things to become rich or powerful. And sometimes someone who seems like a good person on the outside could be hiding their bad actions, pretending to help, but really making things worse for others in secret. As the truth about Eugene Henley, also known as Big U, begins to unfold, it leaves many people shocked and confused. How could someone who appeared to be helping his community in the music industry also be accused of leading a dangerous secret group? The FBI's investigation has brought many questions to light, and while they have gathered evidence, the full story is still unknown. Big U's arrest has changed the way many people see him, and it has had a big impact on both the music world and the neighborhoods where he was involved. Some people feel betrayed, while others still believe in the good things he did. But one thing is clear, this story is far from over. The courts, the investigators, and the community will all play a part in what happens next. Will more secrets come to the surface? What will Big U's future be? And how will this affect those around him? The answers to these questions are still ahead. To be continued.